Alright, so today we have an A1398 that came back on warranty. This machine originally had U8900 fault. Fixed that, and then the customer came back in like a week and said it's still randomly crashing. So we're going to take a look and see if we can make this thing not randomly crash. These 2012-13 boards are pretty lousy in the fact that they're so thin and they flex really easy, and if you flex really easy you're going to get issues with cracked solder joints, cracked traces, and all of that. So we're going to have a look around some of the QFN chips and see if anything looks unusual. Well, but of course it's probably a cracked ball under the CPU or GPU or something of that sort. Nothing's going to be easy. Most likely on MacBook Logic boards, when you get random crashing, most of it is going to be something hanging the CPU. So when something's hanging the CPU, that could mean some strange RAM instruction, something got screwed up in that area, some communication between the RAM and CPU got screwed up, some communication between the PCH and CPU got screwed up, and etc. That's what most hangs are going to be caused by. However, when, like what this board is presenting with is hanging when it's moved or shook or something of that nature, particularly when, let's say, running GPU test, if you shake the machine, it will freeze. Typically stuff like that is going to be a trace or something, sometimes even a cracked GPU or CPU die. That's pretty common as well. Let's see who's here. Hi Joshua, hi Rob, and hi Sonia. Okay, let's have a look. Switch over to microscope view. Alright, so first area is going to be, of course, U8900. Now, U8900, I redid the circuit. I replaced the chip because sometimes, very rarely, you will get a dead U8900 chip. It's in the same area, and sometimes it can crack. However, this area looks decent now, except for my lousy soldering. So if we think, if this area of the board is prone to the same crashing, what else is in this area? So RAM. Okay, so VRAM can cause this. I really would not like to reflow the VRAM. In another area where the board flexes, you're probably going to be flexing across this whole line. So from where U8900 is, right here, all the way across to where the RAM is too. So another very possible issue is going to be a cracked solder ball under the RAM. However, let's have a look at some of these other chips. Let's say this CPU bug controller and see if it looks a little bit messed up. Because sometimes the joints on this can get a little bit cracked too, because it's pretty much on the same area of the board. However, those look pretty good, except that one I can't really tell. Yeah, those look mostly okay. We can try resoldering that, but I don't think that's going to be our issue. What I think most of our issue is going to be is probably a cracked ball under this side of the RAM. I would kind of not like to reflow this side, because on this side we have our CPU and GPU right here, as well as our PCH, and I don't want to kill any of that because this thing came in working. So the first thing we're going to do is try and touch up the joints on the CPU bug controller right here, and then go for a reflow of the RAM, and then run a GPU test and see if this thing still crashes when you shake it, which it probably will, but one way to find out. I can kick on my fume extractor. Hello, Aaron. Of course, a stupid camera wouldn't move around like that, but it is what it is. Stay put. Whatever, it's going to turn the way it wants to turn. The field of view on this C-mount adapter is terrible compared to what I see to what it looks like on stream. And I think I knocked off that little resistor. Oh well. We will go put back that resistor. We might as well go. No, we'll sit that way. I gotta fix this stupid camera. There, finally. It'll be a little bit off, but at least it'll be not crooked, because that would bug me. Can you try and narrow down the board area by testing out the case and tap on various... I've tried that, and it does not crash. It seems to only crash when you shake it. I've tried tapping on the RAM, I've tried tapping on the CPU, and all of that, and nothing. let's replace the resistor that I knocked off, which is going to be this guy right there. Alright, now the fun part. Let's reflow the RAM. Let's use who thinks we can use this whole half a tube of MC559 to fix this board? Let's see if this works. Did you test only one RAM chip? No, because it says soldered on RAM. That would be impossible. That would be pretty hard to test only one RAM stick on a board that does not have RAM sticks. I'm going to try and mess with the resolution on this microscope camera. That's probably going to result in me causing a crash of some sort, but let's see. Resolution. And 1080p is the only. Yeah, we have the proper amount of flux on that board. And hopefully it doesn't set up some sort of a fire alarm here. Okay. I have a question to anyone in chat. How do you increase the stupid field of view of the C-mount adapter, or the microscope camera? I haven't figured out a way. I don't know if it's just the stock adapter that's on the microscope or what. Here, we'll do this. You don't really see it that way either. This thing has a lot of round trips. This thing has too many round trips. They're never ending. Okay, so now we gotta wait and let the board cool down because this thing is gonna be burning hot. Go to Discord, search for post by Lewis, and scroll back to last night. Lewis and Paul were discussing that. Lewis had a drawing of it. The problem was it left the large black edges of view. I've seen that, and I didn't really think about it. Yeah, I saw that about the C-mount adapter. I have to do something if I plan on doing any more streams and make sure we didn't knock anything off funny over here. Nope, everything looks good. And we need to do something about this. Yeah, this CPU chip looks like it was resoldered by a 2-year-old. Let's fix that. Okay, let's turn this thing on. Make sure we didn't kill the PCH or something by all that heat. We didn't know. That wouldn't have happened. PCH is fine. Okay, so now we're going to retest, and let's put this back in the enclosure, and let's see if we still get random crashes. Random crash issues are not fun. It's almost always a no-fix. Because the crash issues usually it's CPU or GPU related, or, you know, some nonsense like that. Okay. Who else likes all these stupid cables on the 1398? One I hate the most is the stupid one near the fan for the headphone jack or the microphone, and that thing always gets stuck under the board. I always take the fan out to put it back. Not really going to bother with much screws. We just need a couple, like one or two, to keep the thing from falling out. In the meantime, I want to talk about customer service. So what I've been getting a lot is people coming in, or other stores, you know, sending stuff in, and they have this attitude that's just, they're automatically dissatisfied. And I know most of you guys that do this or are business owners have encountered people like this, where they come in and they're just automatically dissatisfied, and they're just sitting there looking for something to, you know, complain about. So when you get those customers, I mean, one thing I don't understand is, what do they expect to get when you come into a business and you act like that and are rude and demanding? I don't know what's going through your head about, or what you expect to receive as far as service goes in any business, because when someone like that comes into me, I will tell them, or calls or emails or whatever, and they start acting like that, what I'll do is I'll just tell them to find someone else to fix it, because customers like that tend to be not worth the headache at all. It tends to turn into a big ordeal that you don't want. And another thing to note is, when you get customers that try to lowball you, or try and talk you down in price, these kind of customers are usually the ones that act like that. They usually will always find something to complain about, and why that is, I don't know. It's just something like that. So if you ever get a customer that, you know, asks, can you do better, can you do this, just tell them no, because that customer 9 times out of 10 ends up being a headache. Almost always it turns into, you know, some 1-star review, or complaining about this, or, you know, sometimes people find just about anything to complain about. Doesn't matter what, they'll just complain about something. Those kind of people your business does not need, trust me. I speak from experience. When you're starting out and someone says, you know, I want to send this many boards to you, but, you know, you need to do better with your prices. When you're starting, the first thing you're going to do is, you know, think, absolutely, I'm going to, you know, give them a discount in this, but then you're going to get yourself into a situation where it just ends up being this massive, you know, mistake that you made. Alright, let me... grab test drive. Filtering customers just like electricity. Yep, that's exactly it. We need to put a filter. Another thing to note is, don't be afraid to tell someone to go somewhere else. Yeah, it seems kind of rude, but you know what? If they're going to be rude, get off. They're basically asking for it. When you're rude to someone, especially, you know, to another business, And, yeah, you're asking to get told to go somewhere else. Same thing with the calling every 5 minutes. They expect to get their way and boss you around just like they get in a lot of chain retail stores. Yeah, that doesn't work here. Customers that act like this is primarily with a lot of stores, because sometimes stores think that they are better than you. At least some of them. They just sometimes their attitude is really bad. Stores at times can be worse than end user customers. So what I'm going to do is let's hope this boots, and then we'll go into U8900 Valley and let's run a stress test and see if this thing crashes. It would make it about 2 to 3 minutes in before crashing before. And it appears that it's doing something weird. Also note the solid state drive that's plugged into it is failing, so that might complicate things. Yeah, this is beach balling. It's from the stupid failing piece of junk PNY drive. Alright, let's get a different drive. This one's failing too, but this is a mechanical one with just 85,000 hours on it, so. Let's see if this one decided to bite the dust tonight too. This Toshiba 5400 RPM, let me tell you, this thing, I've dropped it several times. It's been sitting on the floor for days at a time on the carpet with no anti-static protection. It's fallen off the table while it was on and reading. It has so many hours on it, it just refuses to die. Unless it's going to die booting up. Best Buy used to fire customers and then it got out and stopped. Yeah, I mean, honestly, firing customers is reasonable. Honestly, that's a perfectly fine thing to do in business, because here's the thing. When you fire a customer, especially in like small business, that's a relief to you, because that you no longer have to deal with that person you know, wasting your time. You get so many people that will just waste your time for nothing, you know, and you don't want those people as customers. Just, you know, tell them to go somewhere else. Come on, hurry up. I agree. My price is what I feel my time is worth, and what other guy values his time is irrelevant to me. Exactly. Just like $300 board repair a year or $90 board repair down the street. You know, I mean, you get what you pay for. If you come here, you're going to get good customer service, and you're going to get your board fixed. And if you go to him, you're probably going to get your GPU reflowed, or who knows what else. You know, that's just how it is. Okay. Enter my password off camera. Only because this password is a little bit important on this drive. Okay. Yeah, you see what I mean when I say failing mechanical hard drive. At least this one got to this point, not like the other one. Come on, hurry up. Okay. Still acting slow. Come on. There we go. Almost there. I don't know how people use mechanical hard drives. I mean, almost every one I use is just extremely slow and terrible. I think once you use an SSD, you can't really go back to mechanical. At least not mechanicals that are this slow. This thing is, who knows how many megabytes a second. Probably 14 or 15. This thing is so old and worn out. Pretty fast for mechanical. Yeah, sure this is. If you think this is fast for a mechanical drive, you should probably get a new computer. So we're going to go Ultra with 8 times anti-aliasing, or 4 times, no, 8 times. And let's see if this crashes. So I want to completely hammer the GPU, and let's see what it does. Probably going to crash. I'd be surprised if this worked. Alright, so here's your GPU temperature right up here. Can't really see that, of course, but it's around 60. Yeah. And it froze and crashed. Okay, so another possibility is one of the traces around U8900 is screwed up, so let's do something crazy. You're pretty blind going into issues like this, but, you know. Do I have a Wagner shop up the street? I don't know, probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so we're gonna kind of do something crazy. This is gonna be a no fix anyway, but let's mess with it a little bit. Let's try and fix it. So my guess is the original issue this came in for was broken joints on U8900. Now, for that to happen, that area had to have seen stress. Now, what about if one of the traces is cracked around U8900? So that's my theory now, is that one of the traces around U8900 is cracked or fractured or something like that, and it's making intermittent contact. Now, I've measured V-core voltage when it was dropping, and it does not change. CPU V-core is a little bit unstable, but that's kind of normal if it crashes like that, because the CPU is going to be varying load, and it's not drastic, it's, you know, millivolts. So what we're going to do is have a look at around all the traces on U8900 and run some wires around there. Will this work? I don't know, but, you know, let's see. Toaster oven shop, Wagner's high-end. That is correct. In fact, there's another screw here somewhere. I don't think so. This is the speaker connector. Now I wonder, oh, battery connector. Okay. So we know the red's not a RAM. Well, we don't know if it's a RAM issue. It could be one on the other side. Could be a dead PCH. Could be a dead CPU. Well, a dying CPU. So what we're gonna do now is let's have a look around U8900. Let's see if let's go in diode mode. Okay. Probably not going to see much, but maybe we have a fracture in one of... Let's look really closely. So right here, this raises a little suspect, but I don't think it's anything that's going to cause this. Let me find it. So you see on, let me see. No, where was it? I saw it right here. No, that's okay. Okay, let's go to the schematic. So, I really doubt, if you remember back to 2010 where we had the failing polytantalum, whatever they're called, tantalum capacitors, that's very unlikely that a similar widespread fault is happening on this model. However, maybe we have a rare case of one failing. Let's look at the frame buffer circuit. I'm going to switch over to display capture. Alright. So the first thing I want to look at is the GPU V-core circuit. Okay, so here's our GPU V-core supply circuit. This is U8900, and of course that's going to take, I believe BP bus G3 hot, and switch it, and you get your GPU V-core out of the FETs. Let's continue on. Okay, so I've seen several polytantalum capacitor issues, sometimes in charging circuits. They could be really in anything, and they can cause some issues. So here's our input into V-core. Now, if input for some reason is not stable, then it's going to crash. So if we look at, see, we have a bunch of these tantalum capacitors. That's unlikely to be the problem. Same with these, as they really don't fail. If what we can try doing is heating all of these up and seeing if we still crash. I kind of highly doubt it's going to do anything, but we can try. So let's see. A1398, we'll start right there. Let's go to Flex Board View. And what was that number again? That was C8961. So if anything, I'm going to suspect these guys. And that's going to be over on the bottom of the board. Yeah, so see these three right here? Those are all tantalum capacitors. Let's peel this up and let's have a look under here. What's this? Let me switch. Look at this. So notice we have a little bit of something between this FET, but I kind of think that this is just a little bit of flux from leftover from the factory, or it's corrosion. No, that's just flux, I think. Yeah, because the other ones have it too. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of heat on these FETs, and let's see if I'm not on these FETs, on the these capacitors, and let's see if it improves. Do a little something right here. Alright, so I'm going to heat these up. We don't want to put too much heat on the GPU itself, so I'm going to try and work quick to get this back into the enclosure while it's still semi-hot. We don't need webcam or Wi-Fi or any of that. Just plug in the fan. And the I/O board cable. wonder if we're just getting trolled by a bad battery. I kind of doubt it, but it's possible. Let's see. Switch back to... And I didn't select the disk, so it's going to take a minute. Or one of those caps is completely dead and heating it up killed it. Oh, there we go. The thing about the crashing is it seems to only crash when it's either doing GPU intensive tasks or tasks that require GPU acceleration. So that leads me to think there's something wrong in the GPU circuit. What? I'm not sure. I don't know if the crashing when shaking thing is just coincidental. That is entirely possible. Or I don't know if we're dealing with some miserable broken trace issue somewhere. Yeah, stuff fixes itself sometimes. That's pretty common. I get that once in a while too, where something will be dead, or I'll run ASD on it one day, it'll fail one test, and then I put it back in queue to come back to it, and then I run the test the next day, and it passes every single test. Stuff like that happens all the time. I wonder if it's just crashing because the 8 times anti-aliasing is too much for it, but it shouldn't be. Although I think it just crashed right now. Yeah, it crashed on boot up, which is the same issue I was having before. Yeah, and U8900 supposedly fixed that, but I guess not. That's interesting. That's really interesting. But yeah, if we do this, I'm going to try and narrow this down. I'm going to tap each RAM chip. And let's see, well, this is Apple Service Diagnostic. on, hurry up. Find available tests. Come on, what's the deal here? Usually the set boots up a lot quicker. And here we go, it's gonna crash. You know what? You know what's happening? For some reason I think it's losing communication with the drive. But wait a second, no, that can't be, because we're communicating over USB, and it does it on the internal drive too. Alright, let's try. Why did I pick this board tonight? This was not the right board to pick tonight. Haiku's Tech Service. Alright, so we're gonna try and run GPU test in this and see if it freezes in EFI. This doesn't have GPU test. Alright, let's run processor. Alright, so while this is running this test, I'm going to see if I can get it to lock up. So I'm going to tap. So we just tapped all the RAM chips and it's still running the test. Let's see. Still going. Still going. PCH die. Still going. GPU die. Still going. Let's see. So it seems to only be crashing in OS and not EFI, so it is a higher level test. Okay, so let's try to go back into ASTOS, only this time let's try to successfully boot into it. And I'm going to run GPU test and see if it fails. Yeah, chances are, if it was just crashing on the GPU test and not in other things, I would, I mean, that wouldn't really matter too much because almost nobody is going to use the GPU as much as Valley is. But it seems to be crashing fairly often. Now, OS X does use video acceleration, so it's most likely video related. If it was the CPU, we would be seeing a lot of errors in the ASD memory test, because remember how closely the CPU works with memory. So if there's something wrong with either the CPU or the memory, it would probably show up in that test. But video, it's going to take it, you might have to get it at the right exact moment to crash to be able to fail the test. If it would fail the video test on ASD, that would help lead us in the right direction. But yeah, it froze. It crashed right now. Oh, this one's no fun. Okay, let's try again. Almost wonder if there's something weird, like a crack in the CPU. That's happened. I've seen that a few times. It's a microfracture in the die of the CPU. That's a real fun one. I'm trying to be gentle not to shake the thing so it doesn't crash. Alright, I'm going to leave it alone until it boots up. What meter do I have? I have some cheap $30 Bosch multimeter. I wonder if me tapping on the RAM chips is what caused it to not be able to boot up fully, since that's the last thing we kind of did, and it seemed to make it worse. Yeah, this should have been booted already. What's our CPU V core? Let's see if that's low. Alright, so what should we have? We should have so let's try phase 2 GPU. What's phase 2 GPU? 0.89 volts, that's normal. Phase 1 is 0.89 volts, that's normal. CPU AXG is 0. Okay, so something is going on. Let's see. You know what? This may be something simple. So we're losing CPU V core. Let's see. So we're losing. Let's see. Do we have? So we don't have AXG, but do we have V core? Let's see. Well, there's phase 1 there, we don't have AXG. Phase 0 and phase 1 is there, but AXG, I don't think we're going to have that just sitting here. Wait a sec. What is... Okay, so V core is 0.75 volts. That's a little bit low. That's not really low though, that's slightly low, but not. Alright, so I'm going to put my multimeter where you can see it, and I'm going to boot into AST again, and we're going to watch what our V-core does when we do a couple things. So make sure you can see the meter. Meters aren't really expensive. I mean, I just buy cheap ones, it doesn't matter. Does it tell me what voltage is there? Yes, that's all I care about. Alright, so before it crashes, I'm going to measure V-core. Okay, so we haven't crashed, and let's see. So GPU is good in phase 1 and phase 2. CPU, AXG is nothing, okay. That's normal because we don't really have a load. Phase 1 is 0.77. Phase 2 is 0.77. That's phase 1. This is phase, yeah, that's correct. This is phase 1. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to try and measure phase 1, and I want to see if it dips down a little bit. This may be hard to see without an oscilloscope, but let's see. I think, is this? Yep, okay. Okay, so we went up a little bit. That's normal. It's under load. It's going to try and boot. Haven't crashed yet. It's pretty normal that it's varying voltage like that, and it crashed. Okay, so this is what's going on. So the CPU is going to be varying voltages throughout when it's running. It's going to be switching a little bit based on what core speeds are. They're going to be going up and down, but it seems like it's either the CPU is in the wrong. Something's going on, I know, with the CPU. It's lowering the voltage or something. So I guess we can try a new CPU buck converter. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. At this point, it could be BIOS, it could be a dead CPU, it could be the one CPU buck converter. But let's see. Let's change the buck converter and let's see if it still crashes. I kind of suspect that since how the voltage was booting up. We could try and see if it's stabilized or anything after we change it. I kind of doubt that's the issue, but I mean, it's worth a shot. For all I know, it's just dropping out because another issue caused it to freeze, and because it froze that there's no load on it. I don't know, but let's try. Look what I just did. Look at the mess I just made. This chip slipped and, yeah. Okay. It happens. I swear, this stuff only happens on stream. And this is all going to be for a waste of time, most likely. I kind of think CPU vCore is dropping out because it's just not under any load once it crashes like that. I don't think this is going to fix it. Been trying to fix a MacBook. It's been a real pain. Issues with bad vias. Which vias? For what rail specifically? And what's the history on it? Is it corroded from everywhere? Corroded from everywhere. I mean, that's going to be a headache. I find when they're corroded from just every area of the board and falling apart, they always end up coming back for some nonsense down the line. So they weren't solder masked properly by another shop? Well, what are the symptoms? What rail is missing on the board, or what's going on with it exactly? Oh, from the factory, yeah, that a lot of times they're not really solder masks. That's pretty normal. So a lot of them are like that. So what are the symptoms? What rail is missing on it, or what's going on with it? Alright, now which way does this stupid thing go now? Because I forgot. Alright, so the dot's going to be over here. PB-bus 2 out was missing, now 4.1, PB42 missing, found no connection between pins 4 and 7 on U8900, fixed that, still not working. Is PB-bus 2 out still at 4.1 volts? So if you have a PB3V42 issue, you are not going to get PB-bus 2 hot. Usually when they're at 4.1 volts, that's the ISL, or it's shorted to something. So typically when the CPU is dead, you'll get something like 4 or 2 or 1.9 or something. If I feed 12.56 volts to replace PB-bus G3 out, it doesn't have loading. What do you mean it doesn't have loading? If it's just 4.1 volts, Hang on 1 second here. Don't want to screw up the soldering on this and end up with a dead CPU tonight. Alright, so if PP bus, so the thing is if you can't just feed voltage into PP bus throughout and expect it to work. I've tried, it just doesn't work that way. So if it's 4.1 volts, it's most likely a resistor in the ISL circuit. So what I would do is replace the ISL and then replace all the little resistors and stuff around it. So, honestly, I've had boards like that where you check and measure every little resistor and capacitor near the chip, but it could be one of those things like a crack in a resistor. Sometimes I've seen cracks in resistors where they measure okay, but once they actually have voltage running through them, they do not. They're just junk. So, what I would do is go through the ISL circuit, wipe and replace everything there, and then if it still doesn't work, thing is with the VIA issue, that's not really that common. Unless the board is completely corroded from everywhere, I would not be looking at just a VIA issue. I mean, what you mean that they weren't solder masked properly? Most of them are like that. If I think I know what you're talking about, which I'm not sure I do, but if like the center of the VIA you can see copper and stuff, yeah, they're all like that. At least pretty much all the ones I've seen. Okay, so let's fix our mess that we made over here. So what do we have? So a little capacitor there, resistor, capacitor, capacitor, resistor. Okay. Wait a second here. what size resistor was that little one over here? So, yeah, that guy. Pull-up resistor. What value is that one? So what is that component? C7470. And our replacement resistor is no stuff. That's real encouraging. I swear, every single time I stream, nothing ever goes right when I stream. I don't think there's been a single live stream that I've done that something has went right. It all turns into a headache. Either the board isn't fixable, or the board is really screwed up, or I knock off components like I just did when I took U8900 off. Or anything like that. It just always ends in a mess. video output load. You guys watching still have stream? Alright, let's see if this thing still turns on. And we have fans spin. Hey, and now we have a AXG back. And V-core, which is still at 0.75 volts. Okay. And if this doesn't work, yuck, flux. The first step now is let's see if we can get into ASD. What's this? This is an ASD. This is scam software. Yeah, this is not what I wanted. But hey, it booted into this. SD 3S155. Okay. Here's a moment of truth. Is it going to crash? Is it going to get past the spinning circle? Hey, and it did. This is progress. This is progress. Cancel. Now can it actually boot into work? That's the main thing. Will it go past the stupid searching for tests thing? That's the real question. Will it actually allow us to run the test? Yes, it did. Nice. Okay. Let's just do processor, video controller external, video controller internal, thermal interface, sensor. That's all we need right now. Start testing. And now we wait. What? IDOR DC in test 1. There, now we should have an IDOR reading properly. There we go. When it starts into the GPU test, I'm going to tap on the board and see if it changes anything. And then I'm going to go home because I'm tired. It's still going. It's just doing these stupid sensor flatline tests. It always takes a long time. And it's frozen. Beach balling. Alright, so it froze and it started reading GPU sensor. Yeah, that's no fun. Let's see, will it completely lock up? Will it get past this? What's going to happen? See if I tap it. And yeah, when I tap the RAM, it just froze now. Alright, so maybe that side of the board on the RAM right here can be reflown, but I'm done tonight. So yeah, you just saw me waste 2 hours of my time on a pointless board. So yeah, that happens. I should probably pick some better machines to stream on, but most of the time I want to stream at night when all the good stuff is done for the day and only the miserable stuff remains. So I'm gonna get out of here for the night, and I am going to tomorrow maybe refill the RAM on this side and hopefully not kill the PCH and render this thing completely useless. And I'll leave it from there. At least hopefully some of you guys watching learned some troubleshooting steps. I don't know what you're gonna gain from the stream, but maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Either way, I will see you later.